It's another big week for back to school, and there are a lot of changes to the mask guidelines. Starting today, students in Greater Clark County schools will be required to wear a mask when they come to class. So Brooke's in Jeffersonville this morning to explain these changes because, Brooke, this is just one of the districts that's kind of making these last-minute changes on the fly.
And we're going through that list here, Rob. But again, starting off in Clark County, where those COVID cases have now put us over here in the orange level for COVID zone. And that's about 160 cases at least for every 100,000 people per week. So again, that's a change that Greater Clark has made, making that a mandate for wearing masks for everyone. Other changes coming to Greater Clark today: classroom furniture will be adjusted to allow more space in between students, and seats will be assigned to classrooms and cafeterias to help with the contact tracing. Now, over in Floyd County, they are currently in the yellow zone for COVID cases. New Albany Floyd County Schools is strongly recommending unvaccinated students and staff wear masks. In a letter to family posted on its website, Superintendent Brad Snyder says if COVID levels change, the guidelines will too, so be on the lookout for that. The Floyd County health officer had previously issued a mandate requiring masks for K through 6th grade students, but the commission challenged that, ultimately leaving the decision in the hands of the school districts. And with elementary students and staff in Louisville's Catholic schools, they will now be required to wear masks regardless of their vaccine status. Superintendent Mary Beth Bowling says the change comes after COVID cases in Jefferson County tripled in just the last week, with Louisville back in the red zone. And just this weekend, we heard from the director of the National Institutes of Health, who said if mandates are not put in place, our kids could be back to virtual learning.
We ought to be doing everything we can to save lives. And that means get the vaccine. And that means wear the mask when you're indoors in a crowded space. And if you're unvaccinated, wear it all the time.
As for our local universities, both U of L and UK are mandating masks for all students and staff when they're indoors, with the exception of some areas where if you're alone or you're in a room with everyone vaccinated. That mandate also applies to Kentucky State University. Indiana State University, on the other hand, they too have that mask mandate in place for everyone indoors. They're also asking for proof of vaccination, and that is a fight a number of students have issue with, and they are taking to the U.S. Supreme Court, Rob. So only time will tell if that stays in place.
Keep an eye on that. So, Brooke, these southern Indiana districts are changing their guidances and their policies as the rates of community spread change. So what is that looking like right now? What are these, what's the spread looking like in our schools?
So the state of Indiana had reported numbers from July. We know most schools are coming back in August, but as far as July is concerned, at least 50 cases from those schools have been positive. The data is from July 6th through the 30th. Most are between the ages of 15 and 19 years old. Of course, teenagers who are eligible for the vaccine. From the 22nd to the 30th, in just about a week's time, there were 8 new cases among staff members. We won't know about those cases from this past week until the state updates its numbers this afternoon. We're expecting that around noon, but we do know it'll likely be significantly higher, and there could be more cases that the state is not reporting, and really that comes down to the individual districts. More than 300 schools across the state of Indiana not reporting their COVID cases to the state at this time. We know at least a dozen of those are here in southern Indiana. The bulk of them, Rob, are private schools.
Good to know. Thank you, Brooke.